What if the Vikings never survived winter by strength at all, but by a science we still don't fully understand today?
For centuries, the story seemed settled. The Vikings survived the cold because they were stronger than the world that tried to freeze them.
They had muscle, furs, longhouses, and a refusal to die that bordered on myth.
But new excavations across Norway, Denmark, Iceland, and northern Germany are revealing something far more unsettling.
Beneath layers of ash, inside cracked hearthstones, and woven into the fibers of forgotten clothing.
Archaeologists are uncovering heat control systems so advanced that modern engineers stare at them and whisper, "This shouldn't exist for this era." And slowly a pattern emerges, a hidden logic, a quiet intelligence stitched into their homes.
A logic suggesting the Vikings weren't simply enduring winter. They were manipulating it.
Tonight, we step into the northern cold, deeper than any saga ever dared, to uncover 7 lost technologies that one of these systems still exists inside your home. Another hints at environmental engineering thousands of years ahead of its time.
Stay with me, because the truth changes everything we thought we knew about the people of the North.
Archaeologists in Borg, Hofstadr, and Hafnir once dismissed the layered floors of Viking homes as nothing more than concentric.
But when soil scientists ran thermal scans across those layers, the results stunned them. Beneath the longhouses lay a system that behaved less like flooring and more like a living organism. Straw formed tiny air chambers that trapped heat. Ash drew moisture away before it could freeze.
And when the hearth fire faded at night, that heat didn't disappear into the Arctic ground. It shifted.
Microscopic cracks in the clay reveal centuries of expansion and contraction, proof of intentional design, not accident. A breathing floor. A heat system built long before Norse history was ever written down. While medieval Europe lost warmth,
They flexed. They sealed. They worked with the cold instead of surrendering to it.
In the far north, engineering wasn't luxury. It was the line between life and becoming a frozen ghost beneath the snow.
One of the most haunting discoveries in Iceland came from a longhouse excavation where archaeologists uncovered tiny footprints.
a moment caught in time. Undeniable proof that the floor continued to radiate heat long after the hearth had gone dark. Beside those prints lay curled strands of burnt wool and faint streaks of animal fat brushed carefully into the seams. Not decoration, not waste, but deliberate attempts to seal in warmth with whatever the family had.
These weren't just artifacts. They were memories, shadows of a world where survival depended on every...
Floor maintenance wasn't housekeeping, it was ceremony. Fresh straw added in autumn. New ash collected from summer.
These weren't superstitions, they were technologies of resilience, passed quietly from one generation to the next. And strangely, the shape of the floor mattered. Modern reconstructions show Viking floors curving ever so slightly, almost as if they sagged.
But that subtle dip created natural channels where warm air circulated beneath the surface, like lungs pushing breath through a body. The Vikings didn't simply build homes, they engineered living systems designed to fight the cold long after the flames went out.
When the fire finally died, the Vikings did not surrender to the cold. They turned to a second line of defense: stones.
But not just any stones. Basalt, granite, sandstone, each chosen because it could drink in heat and hold it far longer than ordinary rock.
In Hedeby, Kaupang, and Reeb, archaeologists uncovered rings of hearthstones cracked from centuries of controlled heating.
Some sat directly in the flames. Others were placed deliberately beyond the fire's reach.
That spacing wasn't guesswork, it was calibration. The hearth was not a simple pit of burning wood, it was a heat engine.
Modern thermal modeling confirms what these ancient builders already knew. After hours of intense heating, these stones...
And the Vikings didn't keep this innovation indoors. On winter voyages, sailors wrapped heated stones in damp hide.
In camps, stones were buried with food inside earth pits,
cooking meals while simultaneously warming the surrounding ground.
And the stones kept the heat.
But the most surprising discovery came from laboratory analysis. Many stones bore a thin coat of carbonized animal fat, a residue built up over years of handling and use. That layer didn't just cling to the surface, it improved the stone's ability to store and release heat. Without knowing the science, the Vikings had engineered a natural composite material, mineral infused with organic oils.
They didn't fear fire, they formed a partnership with it, one that carried them across oceans and through winters that should have ended their world.
Across Scandinavia, burial mounds and ancient marketplaces reveal textiles far more advanced than anyone expected from the Viking Age.
Threads spun in alternating directions, the S-twist and the Z-twist, created tiny insulating air pockets.
The sheep themselves carried a dual-layer coat, a soft, warm underwool, and a coarse, waxy outer fleece saturated with lanolin.
Viking women blended these fibers with a precision that modern textile scientists now describe as proto-hydrophobic engineering.
Lanolin naturally repelled water. Animal grease sealed the fibers.
Even the natural dyes they used worked like organic weatherproofing, strengthening the garment's resistance to wind, rain, and icy sea spray.
These weren't decorations. They were armor engineered for a world carved by winter. And they worked.
Recreated Viking clothing keeps body temperature stable even where fully drenched, something no cotton or linen garment can claim.
Across Scandinavia, burial mounds and ancient marketplaces reveal textiles far more advanced than anyone expected from the Viking Age.
Threads tightening like heartbeats. Grease warmed in clay bowls. Mothers teaching daughters not through
The Vikings didn't conquer the cold. They crafted a second skin, a living technology of warmth long before modern layering systems existed. Recent excavations across Norway, Denmark, and Iceland have uncovered something even more astonishing beneath Viking hearths.
Engineered radiant heat channels carved directly into the earth, long before Europe developed any form of central heating.
The Vikings were shaping the ground beneath their homes into a silent, hidden furnace.
They dug narrow tunnels under the hearth, allowing hot air to flow beneath the floor before escaping through small vents. Layers of charcoal, sand, and stone absorbed excess heat, while a final seal of clay trapped it.
Modern experiments show these systems could keep a longhouse comfortably warm for nearly 24 hours without adding a single piece of firewood.
Imagine stepping into a Viking home in the 900s and feeling the floor radiate a soft, steady heat beneath your feet.
This wasn't coincidence, it was controlled thermodynamics, born from instinct, experience, and the brutal necessity of surviving northern winters. Some sagas even describe homes where the ground glows without flame. For centuries, scholars assumed these were poetic metaphors.
Now they look eerily literal. The Vikings didn't just use fire, they engineered the land beneath them to become.
Archaeological isotopic analysis now confirms something remarkable. The Norse diet wasn't random or purely cultured.
Whale fat, seal fat, oily fish, high-fat dairy, foods loaded with slow-burning lipids that ignite
Every meal was a strategy. Every bite was insulation.
Bones recovered from ancient hearths are glazed with layers of melted fat, a residue that not only flavored food.
Tallow stored for winter served double duty: fuel when burned, nourishment when eaten.
Children were given thick, fatty milk before sleep, so their bodies could burn warmer through the long polar nights.
To eat was to warm the body. To feed others was to share heat.
The Vikings understood something modern science is only now quantifying, that internal warmth could be cultivated just as deliberately as the heat inside a home.
For them, fire wasn't only in the hearth. It lived beneath the skin, carried in the bloodstream, burning slow and steady against the darkness of the north.
When we step back and view all these systems together, the breathing floors, the heat-holding stones, the radiant channels beneath the hearth, the Viking home wasn't just a shelter, it was a machine
a finely tuned organism built
things. Airflow, insulation, thermal mass, body heat, and food energy didn't exist separately.
Most ancient civilizations built walls to block nature. The Vikings built homes that worked with nature.
It's a story that never appeared in school books, a truth museums only recently began to acknowledge, a reality Hollywood never bothered to portray.
Because this isn't the tale of wild raiders bracing against the snow. It's the story of an Arctic civilization that understood heat as both science and spirit.
A people who learned to turn winter from an enemy into an ally, and in so doing, built one of the most resilient thermal systems in the ancient world.
Modern engineers who study reconstructed Viking homes often confess something unsettling. These ancient structures... Yet the Vikings had none of these scientific terms. What they possessed, instead, was careful observation. They learned by watching the land, by feeling heat move through earth and stone, by adjusting their homes year after year, until survival became a form of engineering. The deeper archaeologists dig, the clearer the truth becomes. The Vikings didn't simply endure winter, they shaped it. They didn't grit their teeth and tough out the cold. They built harmony with it, crafting a worldview in which survival wasn't a... And perhaps that is the real secret that still echoes today. The same principles behind their radiant floors power the heated flooring systems in Scandinavian homes.
The same layered insulation appears in mountaineering jackets. The same lanolin-sealed fibers live on in high-performance wool garments. 1,000 years later, their ideas continue to warm us. Their science, born from necessity, never truly disappeared.
So what do these discoveries really tell us? They reveal that the Vikings were never the wild, frost-bitten warriors our myths turned them into. They were careful observers of nature, engineers of survival, architects of a bond between humans and environment.
Their warmth didn't come from brute strength. It came from insight, from intuition, from knowing how to listen to the land and turn its harshness into advantage.
Walk through the ruins of a Viking longhouse today, and if you stand still long enough, you can almost feel it. The faint rise of heat that once pulsed beneath the floor. The scent of lanolin and smoke woven into the timber.
Heat to them was never an accident. It was intention. It was memory. It was culture carved into earth, wood, and bone.
And the greatest lesson they left us may not be about their past at all, but about our future.
In a world facing new climates, stronger storms, and rising demands for resilience, the Vikings remind us of a simple truth. Technology is not born from comfort. It is born from necessity, from the moment a people decide that survival must become an art.
This is Dark Origins. If you want more stories of ancient engineering, human survival, and the forgotten brilliance of our ancestors, consider staying with our community.
Every like, comment, or subscription helps us travel deeper into the shadows of history, where the truth waits, burning softly beneath the ice.
The sky is so wide here. I wonder what lies beyond the mountains.